Let's record. So we're recording now. So welcome to our whole team winning call with the beautiful Harriet. So Harriet, I'm guessing lots of people on this call know your story already, but I just wondered if you wouldn't mind just sharing very quickly a little bit about who you were before Juice Plus.
Yeah, so I'm going to whiz through this bit because I feel like this isn't the stuff you want to hear, but it's also good to know where people came from. So thank you so much for having me, first of all. I will say, do you know what? I still think it's a pinch me moment that I really looked up to Emma Karen Wilson, from the very, very beginning, and to be asked to speak on one of her calls is a real honour for me. So thank you so much. So before this business, I was a secondary school dance and drama teacher. I joined back in November 2014 with my partner, Dan. The easiest way that I could sum it up is I was broke, bored, and just negative, not credible enough to sell a health product, not credible to give business advice or start a business. But what I will say is that I was hungry, I was teachable, I was determined, I was competitive, I had desire. And I honestly think that the two attributes anybody needs to be successful in our business is a willingness to learn and enthusiasm. If you're not coachable, you can't be helped. And if you're not enthusiastic, then this maybe isn't for you. So I think as long as you've got those two things, then everything else can be learned. We can build upon everything else. And, I thought this was just going to be a side hustle for me. But I went from side hustle to full-time within 2.5, 3 years. And I've almost been full-time at this for 3 years now. Definitely not had the quickest journey. 5 years it took me to get to PMD, but honestly, hand on heart, if it had taken me 15, I wouldn't care, I'd still be here.
Well, it's an absolute honour to have you on my call, so thank you so much. And we've maxed out, which I knew we would as soon as we got to 8:30. So drama school teacher to PMD is a pretty magnificent journey in 5 years. So we're going to go right back to basics and talk about customers, because I know that, we all know that customers are the basis of our business. They're the fundamentals. So we just talk a little bit about how you recruit customers and what your advice is on that.
Yeah, so I like to keep things really, really simple. I think it's the best way to do our business because then it's duplicatable for your team. So write these things down, as I said. Maybe there's some lovely person that wants to type these in the chat bar so that no one misses it, because I do speak fast. But there's 5 key steps to getting customers, I believe. So number 1 is showing that you use the products. Not take the products, use the products, as John would say. So using the products. Number 2 is showing that you eat healthy food. Yeah, you live that 80-20 lifestyle of eating healthy foods and setting a good example. Number 3 is movement. Okay, I don't like to say exercise because I feel like that makes everyone think they've got to be like a gym bunny. That's not the case, but showing, even that you're increasing your steps, you're walking your dog, you're doing a home workout, whatever it may be, exercise and movement is number 3. Number 4 is sharing your own results. You've got to document your journey from the very beginning, every little milestone. And number 5 is sharing other people's results so that they can see it's not just you, that it's actually benefiting other people. And that way you can also show a broad range of different types of results that people can get. So that's the 5 basic steps. And I always say to my team, aim to tick off 2 of these things a day. Okay, so for example, I might show me using the products in the morning. I might do a shaking capsules post, but then on my story later on, I might show what I'm having for my dinner, or I might show that I've gone to the gym. So and then the next day I might show someone else's results. I might show what I've achieved this week. Even though I've been taking the products for 6 years, I'll still tell people what I've achieved in the last week of using the product. So don't just rely on the fact that you've got one product story and that's going to serve you forever, because you always want to be reinventing yourself. And maybe if you've been in the business a little while, it's time for you to reinvent your own story for your audience. And then a really key thing that I've been talking to my team about lately, which I think is kind of the difference between someone completing those 5 steps and someone doing those 5 steps really well, is the difference between, are you showing up or are you adding value? So we can all do these things. We can all check in at the gym. We can post a sweaty selfie. We can show a picture of our food. but are you adding value? So what I mean by this is, rather than just doing those things, are you also occasionally throwing into the mix the actual recipe for the food that you're eating, the actual workout that you did, the reason why our products are amazing? That I think it's important that you don't just show up, but you also add value. And of course you can't add value 24/7, otherwise you'd just be like some sort of like PT nutritionist guru. Maybe some of you guys are, but I'm certainly not. So for me, adding value would be filming my workout and uploading it so that people could see what exercises I did, or making a little snippet video of how I cooked my dinner. That is adding value. It's not just saying this is what I ate, but this is how I did it. So as Jim Rohn says, you get paid for the value you add to the marketplace. So I, again, would aim for a few times per week to be making sure that you're doing a post that actually adds value to your audience and doesn't just show you showing up. Showing up is amazing, by the way. And it's like, for some people, that's the first step. But I do think if you want to take it one step further, where you get really good at getting customers and become that credible person that I wasn't when I started, I do think it comes down to the value that you add. So that would be my top tips.
Do you know what? I was looking through your social media earlier, and you're so organically yourself. It's really refreshing to see. And I think I just wanted to add that as well, because as much as you're super glamorous, you also show yourself when you just woke up in the morning in your dressing gown, and you're very very relatable, right? And I think that's really important. So you're sharing your stories of sharing on your stories all the things you do, but you're also letting people know, hey, look, I'm just the same as everyone else, you know. And I think that's really important. And all the time, my team often talk about you and say, oh, I've been watching Harriet, I've been looking at this at Harriet, and people relate to you, and it's really powerful in this business to be relatable. So I just wanted to chuck that in there. But I love those 5 tips, and thank you. I think it's Maya that's actually wrote them in the chat. That's really kind of you, babe.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, it was Maya. Yeah, Maya A. Thank you. I hope I said your name right. Okay, so next question, is we're trying to speed through these to get through them all in 30 minutes. We talked about, I'm sure it was recruitment I said next. So you're like queen of recruitment. You're always on the leaderboard. So shall we just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I love recruitment. I'm really passionate about it. But just for anyone on the call that maybe doesn't feel like it's their thing right now, I didn't get my first team member for 4 months, and even then, when I did start recruiting, I was probably only getting 1 to 2 team members max per month for the first 2 years. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to make it my thing. And actually, it's only I sort of realized this the other day, when Dan went NMD and then I went NMD, I felt like Dan's thing was that he was like new male NMD, and like everyone was like, wow, a new NMD that's a man, that's amazing. And everyone wanted to hear from Dan, which obviously he's amazing, like he really is. But I wanted to, like, and I was just felt like I was Harriet, like I was Harriet of Dan and Harriet. And I'm sure people would say that's not true, but that's how I felt. And I felt like I didn't have a thing. So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to make recruitment my thing. I'm going to be the top recruiter, and that's going to be what I'm known for. And so I made it my mission. So just want you to know that even if this is something you don't feel confident with right now, you could make it your thing and you could become the best at it. So the 3 months leading up to me hitting PMD, I recruited 62 people frontline. And again, I like to keep it really simple so that my team can also be great at recruitment, which they are. So I've got another 5 steps. So Maya or anyone else that's fastest fingers first. The 5 steps. So number 1, you need to share with people why you've joined. Okay, because if you've joined to get out of debt, to stay for a house, to pay for your wedding, to go on family holidays, you're going to attract other people that would like those things as well. So even if you've been in the business as long as me or longer, go back and share why you started in the beginning, because that's what's really going to attract people. Like I say to my new team members, you are the most relatable you could ever be at the very beginning. So share with them why you joined. That's number 1. Number 2, share what you're enjoying so far. So I would encourage you to write a list of all the things you love about the business. So is it the friendships, the confidence, the Zoom calls, and the money, like the community, the training, like whatever it is, the fact you can work from home around your kids, it's flexible, all the things you love, like, are you sharing that regularly? Like, we're never all doing all of it all the time. So definitely that's number 2, share what you're enjoying so far. Number 3 is you actually doing the business. Make sure like you don't just assume that people know, because people just think that we post on social media and we don't. So, you know, show that you're on a Zoom call, show that you've got your notebooks out, show that you're working from home, show that you're working from the bath, that you're working around the kids, like show that you're popping orders through. Like, I think that's a crucial thing that maybe we don't show enough of as a team. So definitely number 3, you actually doing the business. Number 4 is your achievements, and obviously that could be so broad. Like, even if it's small milestones, you've been able to buy something, you've been able to achieve something, like whatever it is, share every milestone. And then the 5th one, again, similar to the products, it's sharing other people's success. So you can see how these 5 steps mirror the same steps of getting customers. It's exactly the same, just physicalizing it in a different way. So sharing other people's success, so shouting out a team member, is the most powerful thing you can do. It not only makes your team member feel great and empowered, but it puts you in a position on social media where, like, oh, she's shouting someone out, she must have people in her team. If I was here saying like, wow, just because I can see Natalie, so like, Natalie, well done, she's absolutely smashing it right now, and like shared a little bit about her, Natalie feels amazing, but also people think like that I am a natural leader because I'm shouting somebody out. So even if it's a sideline that you're shouting out, share other people's success, share other people's stories, because like, mums don't relate to me, but I can share about a mum in my team that will relate to other mums on my profile. So that's the 5 steps. And then I'd really ask yourself, do you have clarity over who you are attracting? So I've done this on John's call before with, like, if you've seen my avatar of Tina the Teeny, but again, really it's just writing down all the things like that your ideal team member would have. So how old are they? Where do they live? Do they work full-time, part-time? Are they a student? Are they a mum? Do they work shifts? Like, what, you know, what background? Do they like to go on holidays? Do they want to clear their debt? Are they saving for a house? What are their hobbies and interests? So that you know who you're attracting, because funnily enough, you actually don't want anyone and everyone in your team. Like, I'm 30, I'm getting married, I own a house. I don't really want loads of 18-year-olds in my team. Don't get me wrong. I have lots of 18-year-olds in my team, and I love them, but they're not naturally who I would attract, because that's not where I'm at in my life. So I think it's important that you get clear on who it is you want in your team, because then you can tailor make your content to attract those people. So are you posting with those people in mind? You've got to really think, like, what will turn them on to join the business? What is it they're looking for from the business? Is it the friendships, and you need to share more of that? Is it the confidence that people have gained, and you need to show how other team members have gained confidence? So really think about, get clarity over who you want in your team, and then post with them in mind. And you know, make sure you're adding those people, make sure you're interacting with those people, that you're messaging those people, and that you're posting for those people, so that you can get the right people in your team. And those 5 steps that I just mentioned, again, just like the customers, make sure you're ticking off maybe 2 of those. Make sure you're ticking off maybe 2 of those a day. So like, you might show, I might show that I'm working from home, but then I might later on do a shout out for a team member. So I kind of try to hit like 2 of those things every single day. And then use the tools. Like, there's weekly opportunity calls, whether you're part of like whole team winning or whether you've got your smaller individual opportunity calls. Like, make sure you're inviting every single week for people to check out the opportunity call. Make sure that you are using third-party chat. So for anyone that doesn't know what this is where you're talking to someone about the business and they're not really sure about whether this is right for them. So you pop them in a chat with you and somebody else that they would relate to. So normally I'd say this is probably going to be your upline. And if you're not confident with voice noting or closing a team member, I would definitely use this method a lot with your upline, so that you can hear what they're saying, you can hear how they're closing the team member that you can learn from. But I might, even though I'm good at recruiting, I still might use third party. Like, if I've if I'm talking to a mum and she's worried about juggling it around the kids, I'll pop her in a chat with one of my girls who's a mum juggling it around the kids, and they'll share their story. And you just say, can you share your 1-minute story with them? And then we kind of answer questions together. So that's a really great strategy for you to use third-party chats. The third thing is, like, you know, there's videos. The company have launched brand new videos that are on YouTube. If you've not seen them, check them out on the company's YouTube page, of explaining the marketing plan and how our business works. So, you know, are you tagging people daily in a video, like an informational video like that? And then, are you inviting your customers to become team members? This is huge. Like, in the month that I think I recruited 32, I think 6 of them were my customers. So if you're not asking your customers, you're crazy. And I always like to do it in a really tongue-in-cheek way. So I'll always say to them, when they tell me how much they're loving the products or how well they've done this week, I'll say, well, you know what I'm going to say? Like, you could be getting paid for this, or you're doing the job already. Like, why don't you join the team? And I'll always just sort of be playful with them, and that's how I get a lot of my customers joining. So I would say, from these tips that I've given you, maybe just focus on one thing this week. Maybe it's going to be third-party chats. Maybe it's going to be utilising the company videos, or maybe it's going to be getting people on the opportunity call. But focus on one thing this week and see if it increases your engagement, because I think as long as you're having daily business conversations, then you will recruit. It's inevitable. But it's only when I say to people, like, they say not recruiting, and I'm like, okay, how many people are you talking to per day? And they're like, oh, well, no one. And obviously that's not going to get you very far. So make sure you're having your conversations and you're utilising the tools around you.
Absolutely love that. So much content, so much information. I love that you talked about third parties. I used to always get Alex ring me and he'd go, hi babe, you're right. And I'd be like, oh, Alex has rung me for a chat. And he'd go, I've just got this girl, she's a single mum, can you talk to her? And I'd be like, oh, hi Al, yeah, I'm fine babe, hang on, yep, okay. And I'd literally get just 30 seconds, just I'm actually, my camera's off, but I've got the phone up to my ear showing you guys exactly what we do. But yeah, he would always phone me and do that. And he built the biggest, like, he had the best business in Europe. So you know, that reminds me of him so much. Such a top tip. Third party calls or third party power is the one. So so much tips there, Harriet. Thank you on recruitment. No one 62 in 3 months is insane.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that. Didn't sleep.
I don't know who did that. Okay, so I'm conscious we've got 11 minutes, so I'm going to shut up. So the next thing we were talking about was, once you've got those team members, how you get them off to a fast start. And I know in my team group recently, there's been a few girls that said, oh, I've got someone new and, you know, they're not really doing much. So let's talk about, obviously, how you can help them get off to a fast start.
Yeah, so just some really like basic stuff, but be clear before they actually join what's going to be required. So I'm actually taking it back a step, but before they even sign up, I'm very clear with them that, okay, this is what will happen when you join. So I don't even want them to complete the sign up link if they don't agree to these things. Before, so as soon as you join, I'm going to send you the link. You're going to pay your £50. When you're done, I'm going to add you to my groups. I've got some training videos. I'm going to send you the scripts. You're going to put your post on Facebook, which I'm going to help you write. You're going to order your own products, and then I'm going to give you a call in 24 hours. So kind of set it out quite from the very beginning, very clearly, that this is what's going to happen. And then that way, you know, I don't have issues with people ordering their own products. I don't have issues with people not wanting to have a phone call with me, like scared to answer the phone because they knew that was coming. So I think it's just about being really clear. So that's kind of number one, is I make sure I have a phone call with someone within 48 hours. And really, that phone call isn't for me to teach them about DMO and posting and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I'll answer their questions if they have any, but the point of the phone call is actually to ask them questions. So to find out their goals, and you know, what did you join for, and how much time have you got to commit, how are you going to make this work around your current lifestyle. So I'm actually doing less talking than they are. I want to ask them questions and find out, and then I obviously make sure that they've ordered their own products as well. I make sure that they get on a Zoom call within the first week. I try and do it straight away, obviously, like I'd get them on the first day if I can, but the goal is to get them, make sure they've had a phone call, they've ordered their products, they've done their first welcome like post to the world, and they've gotten a Zoom call within the first few days. And really, guys, what I would say, if you're finding people aren't doing this and you've done everything that I've just said, you can't actually help them anymore. And acceptance is the biggest thing. So if people aren't doing it, don't worry. Just, you need to keep recruiting and recruiting. It's a numbers game. Some will, some won't. So what next? Is what Alex used to say to me. Like, literally let that sink in. Some will, some won't. So what next? It doesn't mean like you've recruited 5, they're all shitters, for want of a better word, and so you were like, oh, I'm going to sit and cry about it. No, go and get number 6. Maybe number 6 is going to be your diamond. You have to keep going. So meet people for where they're at. I think of it as like a test and measure system. Like, if they've signed up and they've not ordered their products and they've not got on the phone with me, that's on them. I can't help them. I did my part, they didn't do their part. So I think that you sometimes have to be a bit disciplined with your emotions. Don't get attached to your team, and remember, it's like a game of chess. You move, they move, you move, they move. If you move, you move, you move, you move, what's happened? You've knocked them off the board. And in the meantime, you could have gone and got other chess players, like other chess pieces, team members that would have like moved quicker than that person. So I think it's really important to test and measure.
I love that, test and measure. And the chessboard's a really good way of explaining it, because I think sometimes we can give people so much, and if they're not coming back at us, we can feel like I know a lot of times I have teams saying, it must be me, like, oh, yeah, another team member is not doing, but if the team member is not prepared to do the work, we can't do it for them, and we can't want this business more than anyone else. So yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for that. The guys are going crazy in the chat. Okay, so 7 minutes left. Let's talk about I'm sure my next question was PMD. Have you got that down as the next question?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously you went from partner, I always say direct distributors, partner, to NMD in 3 years, I think. Is that right?
4 years.
4 years. And then you literally raced from NMD, well, it seems like raced for all of us, well, IMD, EMD, PMD in like a flash of light through lockdown. And we were like, holy shit, Harriet's going to go PMD this month, and she's just smashing the business, right? So could you just talk to us a little bit about what you think changed, or what the reasons, or whatever, just how it happened?
So although it seems like a blur, I did try to make notes along the way, like whilst it was all happening, about what was happening, because I think that's really important. I actually, although I was NMD this year, I had in December 2019, so at the end of the year, and we're going into the 1st of Jan, my pay line finished on 21,000. So I actually had a QNMD business, hadn't reconfirmed NMD, was feeling like a failure, and I just thought, you know what, my goal for the year is just to get my NMD bonus and put it towards my wedding. So I could never have predicted what was going to happen. And even though I was an NMD with a QNMD pay line, I still had the same enthusiasm to keep going. I hit IMD in the May, EMD in the June, and PMD in the July. I actually had the pay line the month before each position, but you can't skip 2 positions. So I would have done PMD in the June, but you're not allowed. So the things I've made note of is, number one is I locked in with my team, and I created a community during lockdown. Pardon the pun. During lockdown, I created a community that everyone could lock into. So we were doing Zoom calls every day. We were creating schedules. We just created something that people wanted to be a part of, because everyone was at home, and we would just when everyone else was going into panic and depression, we weren't watching the news. We were on Zoom calls 24/7. So we just created a community that people wanted to be a part of and locked arms with each other. So that was the first thing, and we preempted it as well. As soon as we knew lockdown was coming, we had a schedule together of Zoom calls before it had even begun. I then took it back to basics, that's what I could control. I couldn't control what was going on in the world. I couldn't control the coronavirus. I couldn't control whether people were going to join or not. All I could do was control what I did myself. Like if my team were going to step up or not, you know, I didn't know, but I thought, well, I can control me. So I was like, right, I'm going to recruit and I'm going to get customers. And the company had set an incentive for NMDs and above. So I was just like, right, I'm getting to work. And I set a goal to recruit 20 people and actually recruited 32, which is the most I've ever recruited in a month. And it was just crazy, but success breeds success. So that's why you've got to shout out team members, and you've got to do thanks for your order posts, and you've got to like do these 3-star, 5-star, 10-star qualifiers, like all these things. Success breeds success. People see it, they feel it, they want to be a part of it. And also I just think like it was the ultimate sacrifice at the end of the day. Like I, you know, as we all did as a nation, we all sacrificed. We couldn't go out, couldn't see anyone. I didn't see my mum on her birthday. Like when would you ever not see your mum on her birthday? Like you'd never, like for the business, you never would, but we had no choice. So we had to. So I think lockdown taught us to make the ultimate sacrifice. Some people chose to sit and watch Netflix and eat their body weight in like treats all day. I chose to build my business. So I think it was a choice, and really that's where we saw the workers shine, because all the people who got to work are the ones who've gone IMD, EMD, PMD, and you know, it's not just me, there's lots of other people in the company that smashed it during that time. So I think like those that made the sacrifice, there was just no excuses for failure whatsoever. Like I feel like we like what else were you going to do in lockdown? Like Netflix got boring after a week, so you know, you just had to get to work. And the last thing I think that was a key thing was I created healthy habits. So I still created schedules to my day. Like I'd get up and go for a walk. I did affirmations, and I honestly believe that I manifested it. At the start of lockdown, Dan and I would go for our morning walks. We'd still get up early, even though we didn't need to, go for a walk. And normally I used to do affirmations that were like, thanks for sales and team members, like I am happy, I am blessed. So maybe some of you can relate to this. But I changed it. I was reading The Universe Has Got Your Back, which if you've not read it, I would really recommend. I'd say it's the book that helped me manifest like PMD. And I'd go on a walk and I'd literally be like, thank you for the momentum that we can't keep up with. Thank you for my incredible leadership skills. Thank you for the duplication that's happening within my business right now. Thank you for the momentum that I just cannot stop. And that I would say things in a lot more detail than I would than like, I am happy, I am blessed. And I feel like that's what created it. And I remember saying to Dan, like, oh my God, like we could actually earn $5,000 a month this year. Like we could be earning 10k, that's amazing. And like never could have preempted, like now we both earn 5 figures a month and it's just a joke to me, but like I believe we manifested that through doing positive affirmations. So definitely make sure you've got healthy habits. You're getting up, you're making your bed in the morning, you're going for a walk, you're getting fresh air, you're listening to self-development, you're like reading books, you're doing things like that. So the book was called The Universe Has Got Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. And just because I know we've got 1 minute left, I know Emma's going to ask me this last question, which is what's my top 3 tips? So I'll just do it anyway, Emma. Is my top 3 tips are, number 1, add value. As we talked about, like add value to your audience and you will build that credibility that people want to come to you. Number 2, keep it simple. So like don't overcomplicate getting customers and recruitment, and just make sure that you're keeping it simple so that you can duplicate that down to your team. If you've got some really complex system, you try and teach it to a new person and they just freak out. So keep it nice and simple. And the third one, again, meet people for where they're at. Like don't want it more for people than they want it for themselves. Test and measure, let people show up. And then, you know, there's a great quote that when the student is ready, the mentor will appear. So I think it's really important that the team member has to be ready first before you can help them. But yeah, I hope that covers everything, and I hope you guys take value from that.
Harriet, I literally could kiss you right now. It was so, honestly, it was amazing, like so full of value. I feel so inspired. There is no doubt in my mind why you have achieved all this that you have over lockdown, and just no wonder people want to join your team, because honestly, you're just incredible to listen to, and you're definitely walking the walk, and you definitely talked our talk tonight. So thank you so much. I know you've got to run off to another call, but honestly, massive, massive gratitude.